Hello, this is Key,
And I'm Wolf Peters,
and this is
the
the Key
Key
and
and
Wolf
Wolf
Adventures.
Adventures.
And we are back again with some two videos today. We're going to do a two-part video today. The first part is going to be on patriotic / fictional movies, and the second video will be on Mad Libs, 4th of July. We'll do two each and then maybe a bonus one. And we're going to start today with the patriotic ones. So my number one is National Treasure 1 and 2. I really like Nicolas Cage. He's a great actor. He's done movies such as like The Box and a few other ones back in the day that were pretty good. But I like National Treasure because it goes to U.S. history, and one of his grandpa told him a story about some hidden treasure, and then he decides to go on a hunt and hire this group to help him go on this adventure and find the treasure. But it turns out the guys he worked with were the bad guys, and they just wanted it for their own gain and stuff, and didn't care about anybody else. And so it was kind of the group that he originally was kind of screwed him over. And then basically he found a new group with the actress who's Dana Kruger, who's a German actress. She's great, and she kind of gets involved and helps Nicolas Cage. And then another guy kind of comes on, and so it's like a whole team. And you got Riley, who's the computer nerd. That's really good with computers. And they go on this adventure to find this treasure, and they find clues along the way, like in the Declaration of Independence or in a building or whatever. And then they go to like this one place and find the treasure there, and the bad guy just gives up at the end, and Nicolas Cage finds the treasure. And it's a great movie, and it's full of history, and they talk about Benjamin Franklin and some other famous people. And that's my number one. And the second one isn't as great as the first one, but I still like the first one better. And Sam's number one is...
Okay, my number one it's Liberty Kid. It's Liberty Kids, and Liberty's Kids is about three kids that go on to different places and do different stuff during the American Revolution, and it's pretty cool because it tells you it's three point of views. It's three different point of views and everything. Benjamin Franklin's in there too, and some of the other noticeable historians at that time and everything. But yeah, and they have this guy that owns a printing press that helps out too and everything. So it's just pretty cool to see a TV show about American Revolution that's done by three different point of views, and it's pretty cool to see that. But that's my number one.
My number two is Independence Day. I really liked Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, so I was really excited when he did Independence Day. I've been a big Jeff Goldblum fan for a really long time. He's been in Marvel now too, so it's been pretty cool. But I like Independence Day too because it's about this one guy. He wants to be a pilot, but he gets rejected by NASA to be a pilot or whatever and can't do that. So he's trying to figure out his life. And then Jeff Goldblum's character, which is David, is also at work. And then the aliens show up, and they kind of find out about the aliens. And so they go on this run from the aliens. And when the aliens show up, they kind of destroy the planet or whatever, planet Earth. And then David and Will Smith's character, Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith's character, work together to try to stop the aliens and figure out how to get past their shields and everything. And eventually they use the help of like this group at like what they call Area 51 to help them defeat these creatures. And then the scientist guy can kind of talk to the aliens and stuff. And basically they defeat the aliens at the end. And then the main scientist guy kind of falls asleep for a long time. And then the second one, the aliens come back years later. And Bill Pullman's character has a dream about the aliens. And so he kind of comes back and they kind of destroy the aliens again and everything. And it's Will Smith's son in it, who's a lot older now, that one. And everything, but the second one was not as good as the first one and everything. But I did like the Bill Pullman speech. That's my favorite line, where he stands up and rallies the people together. He gives his famous speech before fighting the creatures or whatever. And so Sam's number two is...
And my number two is National Treasure 1 and 2. The second one is not as good as the first one, but I like them both equally. It's different than like some of the other franchises. When we get to it in my list, when we get to it. But National Treasure 1, it's great. Nicolas Cage does a great job. I need to go watch some more Nicolas Cage other movies, but that's besides the point. But it's great, and it's cool that they use like the Declaration of Independence as like a map and everything for them to guide them to the treasure and everything. And it's cool. It's just a great watch. If you like American history, that's another great one to watch and everything. And I like it a lot, and it's my number two. Like I said, the second one's not as good, but it's cool. Not as good as the first one, but it's still kind of cool that they use John Wood Booth like an ancestor of John Wilkes Booth and everything in that movie to like spice it up, I guess, and everything to and everything. But still, it's still they're both great. Like just go watch them. They're great.
My number 3 is a tie between Band of the Brothers and Sons of Liberty. And Band of the Brothers was a History Channel show that came out on the History Channel early 2000s. And it was a realistic telling of World War II. My dad and I loved it. It had so many famous cast members in it. Like it had Mark Wahlberg's brother, Donnie Wahlberg, in it. And he's also known for the group that he was in back when he was a kid. He was in New Kids on the Block. That band that was started in the late 80s, early 90s. That's such a good band that a lot of people listened to in the 90s. And I liked it because it was realistic. And they went up through Italy to find Hitler. They went up that way. And they had many battles in the movie. It had characters telling like real life stories. And basically going through battle and what it was like and making it as realistic as possible. And then it also showed them liberating some camps and finding out about that. And people's facial expressions and the way they talked in the movie was just so good. It was really fantastic. The other one is Sons of Liberty. That was also a History Channel one that came out in 2014 or 2015. So it's a relatively newer show. And it was about like the story about the Revolutionary War and up to that and how John Adams and them got together and decided on the Declaration of Independence to write that. And it had Ben Barnes in it from Chronicles of Narnia. He played in the Prince Caspian movie, and he was really fantastic. And so I like Ben Barnes in it, and the guys who played the different characters. It was just a fun show about the Revolutionary War because it's my favorite time period in American history is the Revolutionary War. And I got to go up several years ago, like when I was in senior year in high school, I had to go up and do the Freedom Trail, which was in Boston, and go wander around and see all that historic stuff from the Revolutionary War, and it was cool, and I enjoyed that, like Bunker Hill and some other places too, and all that stuff. So if you get a chance to go do the Freedom Trail in Boston, I highly recommend it. It was cool. And Sam's number 3
and my number 3 is The Patriot, and that one I'm trying to remember what it was. I think that one was the same, like it was like American Revolution time period too, so you're getting the idea of what kind of movies I like. I like a lot of American history movies and everything, and that one's a good one and everything. And it's great. It has Mel Gibson. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mel Gibson, and also had the late Heath Ledger in the movie. He was still like a teenager at that time, but Heath Ledger does a great job as Matthew. I want to say it was Matthew as his son and everything. He does a great job. And if you're wondering why that name sounds familiar, he played the Joker in the Dark Knight series, which I heard he did a great job. And that I need to watch that soon. But that's why you think you heard that name is familiar. And also in the movie is Isaac something. I forgot his last name. And if you want to know why that's familiar too,
Isaac Oscar is his name.
I think Isaac Oscar. I think that's his name. If you want to know why that name's familiar, because he also did a famous series too and everything. Harry Potter. He is Draco Malfoy's father, Lucius Malfoy.
He's also from the X.
And he also, yeah, but yeah, he did a great job and everything in that movie too as the bad guy. He plays I won't say like his character in Harry Potter he's like bad. I mean he is a bad guy, but he's not like evil as the general of the army and that. But he plays like bad guys pretty well and everything. I think it was a great movie, a great telling of that and everything, and you definitely need to watch it. It was my first rated R movie I ever watched too. And it was only rated R because of the violence and everything. If you can get violence and blood and gore and everything, if you can get past that, then I say go watch it. And if you kids can get past that too, which I watched it when I was 7 years old, then you show it to your kids because it's a great movie to watch.
And I like Oscar Isaac because he was Poe Derek in the Star Wars franchise 7, 8, and 9. And he killed that role, so that made him really great. Mm-hmm. And then he went on to star in Moon Knight, which he played a character that was normal / crazy. And he played both sides really well. And he can play a crazy guy really well. So that's why I like Oscar Isaac. He was also in X-Men Apocalypse as the bad guy. That was another great one. My number 4 is Saving Private Ryan, and I like several World War II movies slash TV shows, and this one had Tom Hanks in it. Also, it had Matt Damon, a young Matt Damon, like when he was just starting right after Good Will Hunting, when his career was just starting to take off and go like crazy, and him and all that stuff. And so it's about like them landing on D-Day. So they basically land on D-Day at the beach, and it shows a realistic battle of them landing on D-Day, people shooting at them, and that whole scene with Tom Hanks trying to get on the beach and make it past that whole scene with the battle. And then he's also trying to find this guy. It's based on a true story of this lady that had 4 kids, and they were all named Ryan or something like that, and they all died except for one, and they were trying to get the last one and make sure the last one lived, basically, in that family. So that's what Tom Hanks was trying to do, get to the last one. And then when he found Matt Damon, he told him that all his brothers had basically died, and he was the last one of his family left. And so basically, and then when after he talks to him, they have a big battle at the end, and Tom Hanks loses his life. And then at the end, Matt Damon shows up at his funeral or whatever and says a few things at his funeral. And so it's a good one about them trying to find Matt Damon's character during World War II, and that's why I liked it. And plus, I'm a big Tom Hanks fan, and I've loved him in Toy Story and the Da Vinci Code franchise is where I like Tom Hanks. And he's done some other ones here and there that I've really liked, but this is a good one of Tom Hanks and Matt Damon. So Sam's number 4 is...
My number 4, it was a tough one. I wanted to do both of them, but I only can pick one of them, and I'm only going to pick one of them because... and everything. My number 4 is Independence Day. Like it hasn't been like the same as I watched it before. Like I like it a lot and everything. That's why it's like lower on this list and everything. It's very good to watch and everything, and Will Smith and everything, and it's a very good watch and everything. It's a good watch to watch on Independence Day, even though the storyline and everything is fake because they have to fight aliens and everything and all that. But it's still a good watch to watch. It's not like it's not one of my like favorites anymore, but it's still one of my favorites to watch. And there's something more me to say about the movie, but that's just my number 4.
My last one is Pearl Harbor from 1999. I think Christopher Nolan actually directed this movie, but it had Kate Beckinsale, who I really like because she went on to star in Total Recall, and it had Ben Affleck, who his career got started like maybe 5-6 years ago when he did Good Will Hunting, and he did Dazed and Confused, which was a highlight of his career and got him going. And so it's a movie about what happens when the Japanese came over to America and did the Pearl Harbor and bombed Pearl Harbor. And it shows what happened when Ben Affleck and his best friend and Kate Beckinsale all go into the military, basically, and they're stationed in Pearl Harbor. And then they're there for a couple of days, and then Pearl Harbor basically happens. And so they go into the pilot fighting. And then it goes after the Pearl Harbor. It shows what happens during that scene. And then it goes to them actually going over to Japan and fighting the bad guys in Japan on, like, by airplane and everything and that kind of stuff. And then Ben Affleck's best friend dies at the end of the movie, so they bring him back and have a funeral. But then before that, they had started their flight, and Ben Affleck kind of crash landed in the ocean, and they thought he had basically died. So after that whole battle, they thought he had died. They thought that he had died, but he had come back like halfway through the movie and had lived because somebody found him in the water or whatever and rescued him. And so he kind of came back, and then they went off to fight the Japanese in the Japanese countries or whatever. And then basically his friend dies during that battle, and they have a funeral and everything. It's just a good telling of Pearl Harbor. And the Japanese side of World War II, kind of like Midway, is also another good airplane one about World War II. And the Japanese side, and that kind of stuff. And so now Sam will tell us number 5.
Well, before that, she was saying something about Christopher Nolan. It wasn't Christopher Nolan that directed Pearl Harbor. It was the director that did Transformers. That's the guy that did the Transformers series. That's the guy that directed Pearl Harbor, not Christopher Nolan. I forgot his name and everything. Michael Bay. That's who it was.
Michael Bay. I forgot it was Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. And then going back for a sec, I think me and her or Key or whatever were thinking of 2 different characters when we're talking about the Patriot. We weren't thinking of the same guy. I think we're thinking of 2 different ones of it, because it's the same. It's Isaac something for me, but I think she was thinking of somebody else because he was not. because the guy I'm talking about who played Draco Malfoy's father was not in Moon Knight, and he wasn't in X-Men. I just want to put that out so you don't get confused on who we're talking about. I think we're talking about two different players. My number 5, and there's so many ones that I could have gone with. Honorable mention for me is This Is America, Charlie Brown. I could have gone with that, but I didn't want to put. It's talk about all of America, and that one's a good one too. You know what? I'll put that in there too. Number 5 is a toss up between Lincoln and This Is America, Charlie Brown. This Is America, Charlie Brown should have been higher. I forgot about it. It should have been higher on my list, but I'm gonna just keep it right here. This Is America, Charlie Brown is so good because it talks about not just like the Constitution and all that stuff. Excuse me. It talks about everything that leading up to America, like everything about America, and what America did, and what America has done, and everything. Like it talks about the railroads and everything, and talks about NASA. It talks about the Constitution, like I said. It talks about the Mayflower. It's such good America stuff. And if you like the Peanuts, this would be a great watch and everything. And then my number 5 is Lincoln. There was another one that could have made it. Battleship could have made it, but I didn't want to put Battleship on here. I wanted to stick to the semi theme and everything.
Stick to Daniel Day-Lewis is the actor
and
Lincoln.
And Lincoln is very, very good. It was distributed by the Touchstone, which is a offshoot of Disney and everything. It's such a good telling of Lincoln and everything, what he does and everything about, slavery and everything like that. And I think they do the Gettysburg Address in there too and everything, which is a great like address and everything. And I think it does lead up until his death. If I remember correctly, his death, at the theater by John Rose Booth and everything. But it's such a great telling of Lincoln. And there's so many other Lincoln ones, but those are just spoofs and everything.
Like
the vampire one and the zombie one and all that. But that one's a great telling if you want a more true story about Lincoln.
But the thing about Abraham Lincoln is on my mom's dad's side of the family, I found out through my family tree that I'm actually related to Abraham Lincoln. And it's on the Lincoln side that I'm related to him. So my mom's dad's side is actually related to him. And then on my dad's side of the family, because my last name Key, I'm related to Francis Scott Key, who wrote our national anthem of the United States of America. So I'm basically related to two famous people in the United States. One that abolished slavery and did the Gettysburg Address, and one who wrote our national anthem of the United States of America. So I come from like a family of like really cool relatives, And so that's something cool I wanted to share with y'all, speaking about that.
So yeah, that's our list. What do you think about them? Put in the comments below what is your top 5 patriotic / war movies and everything like that. If you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to us for more videos like this.
And we will be and if you like it, then you can toss in the comment section so we can do more videos. Yeah. And we are going to get going on to our next video, which is going to be our Mad Libs. So stay tuned for that. And thanks. Have a great day and peace.
And peace. Yeah.